My name is Jamie Carrion, and this is my hidden road.
Everyone has a story. You may know where they are, but you might not know how they got there. This is the Hidden Road. Carrion has coached girls basketball for 20 years, but his unique start was somewhat of an accident.
My little sister, who was in 8th grade, comes home. Dad, they're not going to have basketball this year for my 8th grade season because they can't find a coach. He was a high school teacher, and he just says, you know what, I'll step in, I'll coach the team just so you guys can have a season. And I go with him, thankfully. I go with him to practice. God bless him, but he doesn't know, he's never coached basketball. I was like, oh my God, Dad, this is embarrassing. Like I was embarrassed for him, and I was like, you know what, let me do it. So here I am, a 17-year-old kid, high school junior, coaching 12 and 13-year-olds. So I'm not much older than these, but my dad's there. He's there because he's the adult, and I'm not. But I'm doing all the coaching. Second or third year that I was there, they got together and they went to the park to play basketball. And while they were there playing at the park, they met up with a bunch of boys from the school, right? And they played girls versus boys. They come in and they were just beaming with pride because they beat the boys. And they come in saying, not only did they beat the boys, but they used our plays. I was thinking, oh snap, like what I'm teaching them is affecting them outside of this gym. And not only on top of that, they're enjoying it. Like that hit me right then and there. And it was pretty much at that moment, I'll never forget that I knew that I wanted to do this going forward.
In his 16 years at Oasis, he never had a losing season.
I would volunteer for the city of Peoria, and I coached there for, oh gosh, I want to say I did eight summers where I coached, volunteered, and eventually that love and that passion for it grew into, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
In 2006, his view of how the game could be played changed.
I go to Australia, to where my brother was playing basketball overseas. Seeing the way that his team played changed everything about how I coach now. I went to his practices and I saw how they practiced and the drills that they did. After I come home from Australia, it was the first time that I had gotten an interview for a high school position. Got the job right after I'd come home from Australia. So I had just gotten this new game strategy that I wanted to try out. When I had a freshman team that was averaging 65 points a game, 70 something points a game at the freshman level. You just don't see that because of the way that we played. And then I took that also into my 7th and 8th grade team in the spring, and we did, oh man, it was night and day difference. We're scoring within 5 seconds. The other team would score, and we would score on the other end before they even had a chance to get back on defense. 2011, 2012-ish area, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the varsity coach decides to step down. By him doing that meant that I lost my job, which at the time I thought was very unfair. Like I was so committed and passionate about my coaching at that time that I was like, this isn't, I shouldn't lose my position. I should still be able to, coach here. And so that was my first reality check. But over the course, while I was there at O'Connor, those 5 years that I was there, I remember thinking to myself, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Like I think I can do that. I think I can coach at that level.
Carrion would lead his team to an undefeated season in 2009 and an undefeated district championship in 2010, the first in the school's history.
Is when I started to apply for varsity coaching positions. I went to 15 varsity interviews over the course of 3 years. Majority of the time they passed me over for a teacher, which was very frustrating for me, very frustrating for me. And I'll never forget one time I'm at a banquet for my elementary team, and one of the parents, her name's Julie Eversole, and I remember, I'll never forget it, is she asked me, Is it discouraging? The way that I answered her, and because nobody had ever asked me that, and it was the way that I answered her that I said no. And so when I said that out loud, that's when I knew that I was eventually going to make it, because there was nothing that was going to stop me, regardless of how many times they told me no, regardless of how many times I have to interview. I'm going to keep doing it, and eventually someone's going to hire me. Gosh, the summer of 2014, I go for a varsity coaching position again. I didn't get the job, and they gave the job to a teacher. I remember telling my wife, like, that's it. I'm gonna be a teacher. I got to become a teacher. Like, I remember having it up to here with the fact that I kept getting passed over for a teacher. That summer, Ironwood calls me, and they say, hey, we have a position here, in an interview. And I thought, wow, this is perfect. It's right, again, not far from my house. The principal knows me. This is a good fit. It's a shop class. My dad taught shop class. Like, this is gonna be great. I want to say like late February, maybe early March, a varsity position opens at another school down the street. I thought, okay, here we go. This is perfect. This is my time now, because they can't say I'm not a teacher. I didn't get the job. Like, I just remember being like, gosh, like, what do I got to do? What more do I have to do?
But as fate would have it, being in the right place at the right time is everything.
That following May, I'll never forget it. I'm in my room, I'm cleaning up my shop. One of my TAs, who was a TA in my class, that coach, I guess, had a meeting to tell the kids that he was stepping down. From that meeting, she ran across campus to tell me, because she knew that I wanted to be a varsity coach. And she was so excited. She was so excited because she knew, she's like, oh my God, this is Carrie-Ann's opportunity. It was weird because, you know, I become a teacher. I get the teaching position at Ironwood. And then 8 months later, the position at Ironwood opens up. And there I am, ready and waiting for it. Like, it was literally like all the planets aligned for me to be there. I knew I could do it. I knew that I could get those girls to win and get them to play well, get them to play at a high level. And I loved it. I loved those kids. I still see them and talk to them. I think it's great. Those connections that I've made, not only with those kids, but with their parents too as well. Not long after that, I get the call from Mountain Ridge.
Carrie-Ann is one of the best coaches I have ever had the experience of playing under. He really listens to the team. He is very compassionate. He's very understanding. And he's also our #1 supporters, and he makes that clear every day.
I'm forever grateful for those 6 seniors and those girls that took me in here and they enjoyed themselves, and I'm glad that I was able to give them a good senior year. You know, beating O'Connor, I think that year on senior night was a big deal for them because they had not beaten O'Connor their entire 4 years. And I think that year was a good year for getting the ball rolling in regards to turning this program around. Last year alone, we won both of our holiday tournaments, which was the first time in school's history that that's ever happened. You know, winning a region title is definitely now on our list of things to do. We have a supportive parent group, a supportive community, you know, administration, teachers, like everyone. It's a good situation for us to be on. I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for those parents who were completely supportive of me, those kids that I coached, that I'm still in contact with, that I love seeing them grow up. I love seeing them, whether it's, you know, I get them as freshmen and now they're driving, or, you know, then they graduate and now they're off to college, or they're getting married and buying houses, having kids, you know, all that. I get to see that now because I'm still in contact with them. Looking back now, had my sister never come home or even never gotten into basketball, had my sister never gotten into basketball, or had that never happened, had they not needed a coach at that point in time, this would have never happened for me. But I'm definitely grateful for the previous 20 years and what it's taken to get me to this point now in my life and my career.